No, it's the cleaners, when it comes to the records and statistics. So, thank you. One more to go, two more to go. We're going to have Jason first. And Jason, why are you here?
I'm here because I was asked to talk about the River Thames and a project which we have at the moment. Before I start though, I'll just who I am. My name is Jason Debney and I run an organisation called the Thames Landscape Strategy. That's a not-for-profit organisation that brings together a partnership of over 300 local groups, 4 local authorities, 2 county councils and all sorts of other managers, owners of the River Thames with these local people. We work towards a 100-year strategy and we were launched 25 years ago. And the stretch of the river which we are interested in is further upstream from here. It is called the Arcadian Thames. It is that wonderful bit of river that we find in London when you go up beyond Chiswick and we go all the way up to Windsor. That stretch of the river is very different to this stretch of the river down here in that it is very low-lying. It is also largely undefended, and that puts that stretch of the river at significant risk from flooding, more than almost any other waterway in London or the southeast of England. And in response, we have established a project called Rewild in London, and we want to rewild the River Thames up there. You think of the river, how many of you have walked that stretch of the Thames? Richmond, Chiswick, that area. You will not see a flood defence along the river. If you walk along that stretch of river during one of the high tides, you're going to get wet. That water goes up to your knees there. The river comes in and out twice a day, 365 days a year. Those high tides, that flood risk is increasing. We know it's increasing and we know it's going to increase significantly over the next 100 years. The predictions that are coming out at the moment are looking for a 40% increase in 25 years of peak fluvial flow. That means that there will be 40% more water coming down the river in a flood, meeting tides that are coming up the river that are going to get higher. At the moment, the only thing that's protecting our stretch of the river is the Thames Barrier. We also know that the Thames Barrier is not going to be used in the future to protect our stretch of the river, because it's going to be needed to protect this bit of the river. And that's what it should be doing. It shouldn't be protecting parks and open spaces, because that's what we have along the river in the floodplain in our bit. It should be being used down here to protect houses, buildings, factories and so on. So, we were asked 25 years ago by the Environment Agency, when they were putting together their flood risk management plan for the River Thames, what do we want? Do you want walls, they asked us. And we said, no, we don't want walls. We thought walls would absolutely destroy that bit of the river that we have. We love the connection between the river, its floodplain, the landscape, its wildlife, the people walking along the Thames, all those wonderful things that make our stretch of the river special. So, we had to then come up with a plan about how we manage those open spaces without building new flood defences. And we launched a project called Restoration of the Lost Floodplain. And we launched that about 10 years ago. That is about building resilience into the floodplain, trying to make the floodplain ready for a flood. And that's difficult because at the moment, the floodplain is managed as a dry place. It's not managed as a wet place. And that is where the Rewild in Arcadia project comes in, is to actually listen to what the river is telling us it wants to do. The river is telling us it wants to reclaim its floodplain. And every year we see those floods, the high tides getting higher and higher. The wildlife is starting to change. The wildlife is starting to change from wildlife that is more suited to a wet environment to one that is more suited to a dry environment. We just want to help nature along. Rather than fight the river, we want to work with its dynamism. So, the Rewild in Arcadia project. It's got 3 different themes. I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier. The first theme is people, rivers and floodplain. And this is about reconnecting people with their river and with their floodplain. I don't know if you know, but the Department for the Environment actually has a policy called Making Space for Water. It is an incredible policy. It is a policy about all the things that we are trying to achieve today. But it is written in a way and explained to people in a way that absolutely nobody understands what the hell DEFRA are talking about. Even the local authorities that are trying to figure out what the Making Space for Water agenda is cannot work out how to get the high-level policy into policies on the ground. That's why I think the GLA with your National Park City, it's such a simple, wonderful concept. Everyone understands that. I think everyone really understands Making Space for Water. It's about allowing water to do what it wants to do. So the first part of our project is about working with universities, communities, people, the authorities, to try and get people to understand what the policies are that are out there. Because if we don't, we're never going to win the battle. The next part of the project is about restoring the natural floodplain, restoring the lost floodplain. And we've chosen 6 sites from Windsor down to Chiswick along the river, where we are raising the money now, and we need millions of pounds for this, to restore the natural floodplain, so that we can recreate the floodplain, rewild it, so we can create places where wildlife, where nature is in charge, and the floodplain can function again as it should. In that way, it doesn't matter if it floods. We're quite lucky, as I said, upstream, with the spaces that we've got. And so we can show through these demonstration sites that we can work with the river, with floodplains, with wildlife. We can put boardwalks in for people to get along the river, because that is the last element of this project, is these floodplains have to work for people. Because if we don't demonstrate that through the rewilding process, that people can still use them, we're on a losing battle in a large metropolis like London. So, this project was launched a couple of months ago by Sir David Attenborough himself at City Hall, and we are now in the process of getting the information out there and trying to raise the money to implement it. So, that's all I wanted to talk about. Rewild in Arcadia, listen out for it. It's going to be a fabulous project that we hope will change the face of the way people think about floodplains in London. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jason. Thank you. So different perspectives, as you see, different experiences of the river from different sides and different sources of knowledge, isn't it? It's different ways to understand what the River Thames is all about for us, in our city. And we have one last one. Yes? Okay, do you prefer this one?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Henry Muss. I will be brief because I know we want to get on to the People's Assembly bit, the deliberation. There's one key player that isn't on the panel, if you may have noticed. Thames Water. Thames Water has 14 million customers. The River Thames goes all the way up to Oxfordshire. So we invited Thames Water to talk about what Thames Water is doing about Thames Water and the potential flood risk, both alluvial and from the tidal impacts on 14 million Londoners. They decided they didn't want to put anyone on the panel. We did invite them. Told them Caroline was coming and George, and tried to make it exciting. So I had to go and try and get a little bit of information from their site, and then that little bit of information fact-finding got them into action to then prepare a statement for me. So I got this off the website. This is the Thames Tideway website, because Thames Tideway Tunnel is an offshoot semi-autonomous group that Thames Water are using to help construct a tunnel underneath the Thames. This is off their website. It may be hard to believe, but until the tunnel is built, we're treating the river like a toilet. Raw sewage flows directly into the Thames when it rains, and this is the only way to stop homes and streets from flooding when the existing Victorian sewers overflow. So I said, is that the statement that you want to put in? That's from your website. Because you said that you have nothing to do with flood mitigation. It seemed pretty clear from that last statement, this is the only way to deal with the flood risk in London. Oh, no, there's a different statement. Okay. London's sewage system was built for a population less than half its current size. As a result, millions of tons of raw sewage spills untreated into the River Thames each year. The Thames Tideway Tunnel is a 25-kilometre sewer tunnel from west to east London under construction to tackle this sewage pollution. More than 7 kilometres of the tunnel is already built so far, and the project is due to complete in 2024, in brackets a cost of £4.6 billion. As we get closer to our goal of a cleaner River Thames, we are committed to working in a sustainable way that minimises our impact on the environment. For instance, we have taken more than 100,000 lorries off the road so far by transporting materials on the river, producing significantly fewer emissions and reducing congestion on London's roads. So, just a couple of points on that statement, and this is from a colleague on the Thames Blue Greening campaign group called Roland. The first line is simply not true. The Bazalgette sewers were designed for a population of 4 million people 150 years ago. These sewers almost exclusively exist in inner London, where the population of inner London is actually decreasing and is currently at 3.2 million, i.e. considerably lower than the 4 million. The sewers are designed on the basis of a maximum 1/8 foul water and 7/8 rainwater. So to finish off, as we've heard different inputs, and I referred to a point that Darren raised, when I googled cleanest urban river in the world, the River Thames is now the cleanest river in the world that flows through a major city. According to a survey by the Zoological Society of London, over 2,000 seals have been spotted in the Thames between 2004 and 2014. Also cited were hundreds of porpoise and on rare occasions a whale. I think it was yesterday there was a whale. Unfortunately the whale died. But he came and visited, and we don't know what, it could have been natural cause of death. So I'll hand over now to Carolyn. I think we've got lots to discuss. Are our interests being considered? Are we doing the right thing for London? Are we prepared for the flood?
Okay, so that's your turn now, guys. Who's taken part in a People's Assembly before? Can you raise your hand? Anyone? A few of you, okay. So could I ask you guys to be facilitators in some of the groups that are going to be formed, if that's okay? Yeah, because you know the principle. So People's Assemblies, why do we do People's Assemblies? Extinction Rebellion used People's Assemblies for everything, in terms of decision making, in terms of idea exploration, looking at all the possibilities that we wish to generate together. And I think it's important to explain, you know, what the origin of the People's Assembly is. It's an assembly. It's an assembly that is based on a dialogic process. And it's really important. We're talking about dialogue. It's about using dialogue to share and collaborate together, to create the future that we wish to have together. It's not debate where one person is right and the other person is wrong. It's not a discussion, which is often won by the person who can speak the loudest, in my experience anyway. It's dialogue. So you are going to form some small groups of 5-6 people. I think that would be enough. And within that group, we're going to engage in a specific way. It's not about sharing our opinions or our ideas. We've got some knowledge, we've been informed. It's about sharing how we truly feel and how we experience this subject matter, okay? So it's taking our turn, so we are going to ask the facilitator to use the XR hand signal. Who's familiar with the hand signals that we use within XR? You raise your hand? A few of you, okay. Would you come, Helena, and show me and help me show the hand signals? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. Yeah, it's often easier because I've got always a microphone. So, what do we do, Helena, when we want to take a turn? I want to speak next. Okay, so that's what we do. So we wait, and the facilitator will see who is asking for permission to talk next. Okay, that's the role of the facilitator. What do we do when we say, I have a direct point and I'm going to get priority? We've got 2 fingers. Okay, what do we do when we need a clarification? We're not sure about something. Okay, so we've got the C, yeah? I say use this if you really have to, because we want to avoid questions, we want to avoid interjections. We want to bring you back to the ancient way of sharing, where we were sitting around the fire and sharing our stories, our experience, how we wanted to take something forward. So, the last one that I always give as a last resort is round up. So if someone is talking for too long, trust your facilitator to say, hey, come on, we need to make sure everyone has the same time to share. That's really, really important. That is really the basis of sharing in this way during an assembly. is ensuring that all of us have the same time, the same opportunity to be heard, to have our voice heard in the same way. So 3 pillars to People's Assembly. The first one is radical inclusivity.